Duel Review is brought to you by NexusDigitalComics.com. On today's Duel Review, it's Man on Fire. I'm RJ.
And I'm Nick.
Let's get to it.
Welcome to Friday, June 29th. We are doing the movie Man on Fire.
That's right. 20th Century Fox, Tony Scott film, 2004, and stars Denzel Washington and Dakota Fanning. Also, Mickey Rourke is in there. I forgot he was in there until I saw it again recently.
Wow, I forgot he was in there too.
He's like post-op. He's pre-op, post-op, because he's before he really screwed with his face, but he's after the first surgery, so he's still a little gruff looking. And anyway. The only thing I'll say about his character is, like, you can figure it out when you watch this film. Anyway, it has Christopher Walken in it as well, and I have lots to say about Christopher Walken's character. I like this. It was based on A.J. Quinlan, his book. There's a series of books starring Creasy. This is one of them.
Right.
Okay, this was before Domino. You guys know Domino? I hate Domino. I did not like Tony Scott for a long time because of Domino. Even though he gave us Top Gun and True Romance, which I love True Romance. And he gave us Man on Fire. Man on Fire, the reason I don't like Domino is because it jumps all over the place. It's got all these weird camera tricks, and it's got the blooming lights, and it's got the frame over frame, like the soft exposure, and then the hard and zooms in, and all handheld and yada yada, just all the frickin' time. It's on 11 all the frickin' time when it comes to camera moves. Even like the slow, boring stuff, it's like jittery and fades in and out. It's just MTV to the most. That was a mistake. Man on Fire does it, but it does it just sparingly. The first intro, it does it very heavily, and it leaks a little bit into some of the mundane crap, which I don't think it should really be in there. But then he pulls it back, and he only uses it again in poignant moments. Right. So I appreciate that. It gives you a rest, because I hate Domino. I think I would like the story if I could get past the delivery. The
presentation Domino based on a
horrible. Comic? Yeah, there's a comic about it. I don't know which came first.
Okay.
That's another Duel Review. For now, Man on Fire is very solid, but here's the thing. I think that it was just a perfect mix. It was a perfect balance. They just happened to get things right. I do appreciate Tony Scott's kind of, aesthetic that I just described when it's restrained. It's kind of a neat thing. I like that they had Nine Inch Nails music in there, even though whoever looped it, did a bad job of looping. Because you can hear that it's about to go into the chorus when it juts back to, like a couple frames so they can elongate the moment in the movie. That's so irritating to me. But for the most part, it really works. You get a sense of who Creasy is right off the bat. He has this relationship with a girl. And that's another thing, is they allow time for that relationship to develop. That's a good half of the movie. Is them and him and Dakota Fanning, figuring out, how to work with each other. The story is Denzel Washington is like he's like a top CIA, covert op, kind of guy. He's down on his luck because he's a drinker. He drinks a lot, and so he's not employable. So he goes to Mexico City, and he's hired by this guy. And I thought he was a drug lord, but rewatching it, I don't think he is. I always thought it was funny because if he's a drug lord and he's paying this guy to take care of his daughter, it's weird that they would want us to have sympathy for a drug lord. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't think he is. I think that his father was kind of mixed up in that. And so the money that he's inherited, even though on the surface it looks like money, it's not really. So he has to scrimp and save. Long story short, well, actually it is kind of a short story in the movie, but he ends up hiring Creasy because he's not charging a lot for himself. Creasy doesn't have a whole lot to do. The reason he goes to Mexico is to look for work, kind of, and to go visit Christopher Walken's character, who was a partner of his in the CIA kind of thing. And Christopher Walken's character is key to this because it gives Creasy his humanity. It gives Creasy his weight. We know he's a badass, and it's mostly because of Christopher Walken. I mean, there's definitely some scenes where you can tell he knows what he's doing, but it's really how Christopher Walken talks about him. How he's like, he's an artist. He's an artist of death. Like he's that kind of artist, and just Christopher Walken's character is so endearing, and he and Creasy were gonna do, and that's a weird name, by the way, Creasy.
Yeah, it's weird.
But it's memorable. So
you don't forget
it
it.
works.
Creasy. It's hard to say.
Creasy.
Well, hard to say.
So he and Christopher Walken's character, they were supposed to, like have a business together or something like that. But Christopher Walken fell in love, and so he jumped ship and he got married. He moved down to Mexico. So Creasy ends up following him. Christopher Walken kind of feels bad for him, so he gives him a job, gives him this, interview with a job. Dakota Fanning's mother is American, and so she like immediately hires Creasy because he's American as well.
Right.
And then you get into kind of his sorrow and his drinking, and he's conflicted because he doesn't really want to be attached to the girl, but the girl likes him and wants to have a friendship with him. And though Creasy is, hesitant at first, he does find it, endearing or whatever. He decides to put off drinking, and I know it's a difficult moment for him, and he befriends her. Then, of course, the S hits the F, and she gets abducted. Now, apparently there have been like 24 girls in the last, 2 weeks or something. Or not girls, just kids abducted and held for ransom. So there's definitely a syndicate doing this. Of course, it's in Mexico City, so we've got corrupt cops abound. Everybody knows that it's not exactly the most integral police force, and so he has to deal with that. He has to take justice into his own hands, and pretty much solo. Christopher Walken says, he literally says, "I refuse to kill again," kind of thing. So he helps as much as he can, which means he arms Creasy, and Creasy is wounded, and so we're kind of left wondering whether or not, I don't want to give all this away, but we're not sure if, he knows that he's mortally wounded or if he's just, risking it until the job is done, or we don't know his future. We're left to kind of wonder that and what he feels about his own future. But anyway, he does some badass stuff. He just starts kicking ass and, not even taking names, just killing them.
Yeah.
And so he's just literally, he wants to hunt down every single person that's involved. And it gets really sticky. Like, it gets hairy. It gets to very close. So it's not always easy for him. It's not always like cut and dry, like all these bad guys are going to die. It's other people too. So it's kind of a fun ride. We get the camera stuff that I was talking about earlier mixed with the Nine Inch Nails and his moments of badassness. And it works for the most part there. Again, I think that Christopher Walken is really pivotal because I don't think I would be as invested in this character. I wouldn't really give a crap or know his history if Christopher hadn't played that up a little bit.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah. He is definitely a focal point to the character.
And Dakota Fanning is annoying, but just a little bit. She has that thing where she talks much older than she really is.
Yeah.
She's wise above her years or whatever. So she does that once or twice. My wife is really sensitive to that, and so she only really responded once rewatching this. So she does a pretty good performance. I don't have anything against her. It's just that sometimes you don't believe her as a little girl. Even though she is a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, like I say, Rourke is in this. Who's the one that married Jennifer Lopez?
Ben Affleck?
No, Anthony Kiedis. No, not Anthony Kiedis. I forget his name. But he's in this. He's one of the main characters.
Which one? Didn't she marry that singer too?
The Mexican guy, the Spanish guy, the Latino guy.
The singer.
Yeah.
Something Enrique Iglesias or whatever?
No, he's gay, isn't he?
I have no idea.
Anyway, who else of note is in here? I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But yeah, a very fun movie. It has a fairly Hollywood ending, but there's a little bit, of difference there. Now, back to Tony Scott just a little bit. Of course, Ridley Scott, everybody loves him, whatever. It just has Prometheus out now too, just now.
Yeah.
Known for Alien and Gladiator, and, he's very prolific and he's big and bombastic. Tony, not so bad. I mean, he's got a good track record as far as, like, Top Gun and, True Romance, like I mentioned, but he does tend to play a little heavy-handed when he finds something new. Dare I mention Lucas? Like learn from Lucas and don't do this again. Don't do Domino again. Let's
Don't do that.
Let's see more
Bad.
movies like the Man on Fire and
Right.
True Romance. Anyway, he's always kind of pushed the envelope though, so I nod my hat to that. Solid music other than Nine Inch Nails. What else can I say? It's just a solid watch.
This was a movie that I actually saw in the movie theaters with my brother Tim, and this was totally a good, let's go see it with the bros kind of movie. It totally worked. We came out and we were like, yeah, we're the man, just kind of building ourselves up because, it made you feel good. It made you feel like, Denzel Washington represented man in a good light. We're awesome.
I don't think I mentioned that
we could take anyone out.
The screenplay was written by Brian Huckland, who did the LA Confidential, which I really like, and then Knight's Tales, which you really like.
I really like A Knight's Tale.
So it is solid, screenwriting there as well. So yeah, it's a great movie. If you've avoided it for any reason or just haven't seen it, go watch it. It's one of Denzel's best of his recent stuff, I would say. If it's not like mushy and you know what I mean, like there's a lot of those movies that people like, but I think he's badass in this, and he kind of started playing the same role after this, like over and over, like even Phelan is a little bit like this.
Have you seen the SNL mocking of him? I forget what the guy's name, Farrow, something Farrow. He does a pretty funny Denzel Washington where the one guy's like, I hate you old man, and he's like, like all pissed off, and he's like, all right, yeah, you can make fun of me because we're friends now, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny.
Gotcha. Yeah, the King Kong ain't got nothing on me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like that movie. We should review that sometime.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay, guys, follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, tell us what you think.
Check out all of our wares at spiderwolf.com. We have prints.
Oh, man, the second one. T-shirts,
T-shirts,
card games, short stories.
Short stories.
We've got Kickstarters coming out, and we've got new content all this week and next week, and
that's right.
For the foreseeable future. Something new every day, and then we're going to have monthly stuff as well. So lots of new stuff.
Lots of great new stuff.
NexusDigitalComics.com and our YouTube channel. So check it out, please, and tell us what you think. If you want to be involved in some way, just
please
let us know. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So thanks. See you next time. See you next week. Yes. Oh, I think you're ahead now.
There doesn't seem to be anyone around.
Gonna have to stab you.
What?
I don't approve of it.
The beating of a heart is the only sound.
Next week, we finally take a look at All-Star Western. You sabotaged it again.
No, I just found an extra one.
Sure, Nick.
Hello, and we are to be doing Duel review today. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook.
No, Twitter? Who does Twitter? I have a Twitter account, but I never use it.
I never use it either. I made one for Nexus, but
did you?
Yeah, Nexus Pending, I believe it's called.
Nexus is tweeting.
I don't tweet anything. What the hell am I going to tweet? I don't use Twitter. I don't use Twitter at all.
Twitter.
And I rarely ever use Facebook, which is unfortunate.
I don't use the tweeter.
What is a tweeter? Is that like a bastard who sings too much? Is that Nick? By the way, ladies, if you're wondering, I do sing in real life.
Warning, Nick sings in real life.
I do. I can't help it. Just every now and then I break into song. It's like Tourette's. It really is.
Except you think you're awesome.
I am awesome. There's no thinking, there's knowledge. Knowledge is power. I'm like, I don't know, a white Johnny Lang. See, it's funny because Johnny Lang is white.
Ah! Alright, wait. Stop monkeying. Monkey.
I'm not a monkey, I'm an ape. I'm a big stinking ape.
Go ahead.
Whoa. Right. I like when he lets me do it.
Make a funny noise.
I just did. The ka-chow's not a funny noise?
No.
Boy.
Ridiculous.
Sex ed, man. It was great times. If you don't know, there's a sex ed video with a kid on a diving board, and he's looking down and there's girls and they're all waving to him, and then you hear the sound boing, but he didn't jump.
Was in his pants.
The boing was in his
wiener.
Welcome to Friday the 29th of June. We are doing Man on Fire.
That's right. And I wanted to do this because I like this movie. It's not like one of my favorites or anything, but I do like it. Okay, so it's Tony Scott's 20th Century Fox, 2005.
2004.
2004. We're going to do this again.
It's 2004.
Yes, it is. How'd you know?
Because you said 2004 seconds ago.
Okay.
Welcome to Friday the June.
Ooh. I'm going to be the man on fire in a second. It's hot.
Yeah, it is freaking hot in here now.